gentlemen, this is the main event. Fight fans worldwide, you tuned into the #1 undisputed boxing podcast today. This is the Boxing Breakdown. Now, your heavy-handed, hard-hitting host, Mark Roxey.
Yes. What's up, people? Welcome to another edition of the Boxing Breakdown, and I am your host, Mark Roxey. What's up, guys? Delighted to be with you again today on another episode of the Boxing Breakdown, and I am joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Harold Hunt. What's up, Harold?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, brother. What's going on with you?
Oh, man, there's a lot of boxing that's happened. There's a lot of stuff going on we got to talk about today.
I know, man. How have you been? I haven't seen you in about a week or so. What you been up to?
Oh, man, really just watching everything I can, reading all I can. There's so many developments out there. It's so much. So, just got a lot to think about, a lot to talk about. I'm excited for you because you got stuff coming up. So it's just, our sport is just really taking off right now.
Yeah, man, you're right. There's more boxing going on right now than we've had in roughly 2 years, a year and a half at least. And it's amazing. It's really amazing to mark the episodes of the Boxing Breakdown. We're beyond 45 episodes, I think, of the Boxing Breakdown, and we began the program just before COVID-19 began, and it's just quite amazing if you go back and you listen to the broadcasts from the start of the original first one we did, which I believe was with Cutman Vic Starata, who's an absolutely amazing man and great cut man out in Mexico now. Was originally from Reading, Pennsylvania, but now lives out in Mexico, and he's working with a bunch of fighters. It's amazing to look at the progress of the program and really think back to all the episodes and some of the things we were talking about, man, about boxing being shut down and fighters losing their careers and people dying and what is COVID and, just the plethora of different topics that we addressed in the last 24 months is pretty incredible. And to think that we're sitting here today and we are going to chop up the Fury Wilder fight. We're going to talk a little bit about the Canelo Alvarez saga and just his amazing career and the possibility of him going up to 175 pounds, which is, I'm saying, a possibility. I'm not sure it's ever going to happen, but maybe not for another 5 years or something, but who knows? We're going to chop that up. And then we're also going to talk about women's fighting, women's boxing, and the possibility of 3-minute rounds, which is, there's a lot of hubbubaloo around that topic. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Jermell Charlo and Brian Castano. They have a fight coming up. And we're going to talk about my boy, Martino Jules, Titan Jules, who's out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, who is going to be fighting on Showtime. And he's, we're excited about that fight. So we'll talk a little bit about that and share that out there with my good friends, the Boxing Breakdown. Listen, man, please join in the conversation. If you're listening on YouTube now, feel free to comment. Your comments are live, and you can comment, and we will chop it up with you. And if you're listening to the broadcast on Apple Podcast, please give us a good review and tell your friends about it. And we'd love to grow the program. So thank you very much. And Harold, let's get right into it. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. What the heck is going on?
Well, Wilder was ready to go, I believe. Mr. Fury had so many sparring partners. Seems that the COVID was brought in by one of those. We know his entire camp was inoculated or had the vaccine shot and everyone was good. But as he trained, he needed more sparring partners, and all of those weren't vetted as such. And one of them brought it in. And that's kind of what happened. So it's been postponed. Supposedly he doesn't have any symptoms. He just tests positive for it. So it has to run its course.
Whoa. Let me see if I can get my sound effects here, bro, because I'm not even that's the one I needed, Harold, because I needed to kind of rewind that so that the listeners understand what's going on. So, supposedly, just to set the table here, okay, the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight is postponed officially, and the fight is postponed officially because apparently the Fury team, the Fury camp, a multitude of the guys in the camp allegedly have come down with COVID-19. And I find that to be really interesting. So, Harold, I just wanted to lay that table out there because, listen, people, we've been looking for this. We've been looking forward to this fight, Harold, for a year and a half, man. I mean, I just can't believe that this has happened.
Well, sometimes the protocol gets relaxed when the world gets relaxed with it. And because of that, someone kind of slipped underneath the radar, if you would, and they just didn't check everyone who came into the camp. They just kind of took it for granted, I believe. I mean, to me, there's no excuse.
Wait a minute.
Everyone should have been checked initially.
Well, okay, Harold, wait a minute. So are you telling me that the Tyson Fury camp, meaning Tyson Fury himself, his chief second, and the entire team was not already inoculated for COVID-19? They were not vaccinated? Is that what you're saying?
No, they were good. It's just the sparring partners he brought in to help him at the end of this campaign. One of them had it. They weren't vetted. He has a huge amount of people that work with him, and everyone who came in wasn't vaccinated. And because of that, someone got in and it spread it around. But he and his entire team, they were all good to go. It's just that when they brought in these other people, other sparring partners, it was an issue.
Listen, first of all, if you listen to the program, you just saw the subscribe button. Please hit the like and subscribe down below, please. And make sure you hit the notifications for us so that we can grow the YouTube channel here. We really, really appreciate it. And back to the topic, bro. I find it to be, well, first of all, it's shocking that this has happened, but it's also shocking at the way you're delivering it, because I can't believe you are not in shock about this. Like,
initially I was in shock. I was kind of upset. I know it was unfortunate it happened, but you can't dictate what biology is going to do in this world. You can't dictate what's happening. You can't there's no way he's not going to have a big sign on his face, I've got COVID. So you just don't know. And it's always going to be an element with the rest of our lives, this kind of thing could happen. So I feel sorry for the people on the undercard, man. I feel sorry for all the vendors. I feel sorry for all the people who are depending on this for their livelihood and, to get paid and all of that. I'm sorry for Deontay Wilder because he was at a pitch mentally where he was going through really, really throw himself into the situation. Now, because it's not happening right now, it's going to be hard for him to get back to that mental pitch where he was. And Fury is always going to be calm and ready for the situation. So he'll be less affected, I believe. But I believe Deontay Wilder has to ramp himself back up again to where he was. And I think that's going to be difficult.
Wow. Well, first of all, Deontay Wilder must be livid about this. I mean, he must be off the chain upset about the fact that this fight is postponed, because he has for over a year, just about a year, been training like diligently for this fight. And, I think it's just unconscionable to me that anybody would conduct a camp in the climate that we're in and not have the fighters vetted and not have the team basically vaccinated. If you are out there and you are working with a team at this level, at the highest level of the sport, and you are not vaccinated, I mean, Bob Arum came out and, I think there was something released recently about Bob Arum making statements about this. And I tend to agree with him. I don't think that if you're a prize fighter and you're fighting for this kind of money, you gotta take care of business, because there's a lot of money riding. There's a lot of promoters that put out a lot of money to make these fights happen. And there's lots of investors and, undercard fighters on the undercard. I mean, it's not just you, right? It's an entire organizational structure that you affect. It's like a trickle down to everybody. So you don't get paid, yes. You're not getting the big payday, but nor are the other people involved in that show. Not the networks are, this is like... I think this is worse than like the 1990s when Tyson was fighting and knocking guys out in a minute, before a minute of the fight. And, a lot of the sponsors were like, we don't want to take out a sponsorship because we're not getting any visibility because he's knocking people out in the first round. There's so much money behind these fights, and it's just a shame. It's a shame.
So I'm looking at the possibility that this fight may not ever happen, because there's going to be so much water underneath the bridge. There's going to be so much talk. Yes, it's postponed, but Tyson already tried legally to get out of this third one. So who's going to stop him from going that way again? Maybe not using that vehicle as with Joshua, but who knows what can happen with that.
Okay.
Your thoughts?
No one knows really why, right? But here on the Boxing Breakdown, let's chop it up. Let's break this thing down. Why? Why do you think this fight's not going to happen? Why? Be specific.
Well, we want it to happen. I believe it's going to happen. I don't know what the parameters will be to not let it happen, but it could easily happen. This is another stoppage of the fight. How many times can you ramp up all the media and the people involved in it and the networks just to be let down again and again and again? So I want to see it happen. I think it needs to be done, be taken care of for the public to see. However, it could happen. Anything could happen. And, there's always a possibility that something could come up and it gets postponed indefinitely.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that's a very, very real possibility. It's interesting because we were just talking about this on the last episode of the Boxing Breakdown, where we were talking about Teofimo Lopez, and unfortunately, he came down with the vid. And, that put a major wrench in a wheel that was moving forward nicely, right? And they've purportedly discussed, they've been talking about not enough ticket sales. They were talking about I'm going to actually reach out to Teofimo Lopez Sr. and get him on the program again so he can set the record straight. I'm going to do it, Harold. I've just been so busy. I haven't really, but I'm going to reach out to him and I'm going to ask him to come on the program to really set the record straight about all this stuff because, there's a lot of stuff going on here that, nobody's really talking about, right? And now they are fighting, isn't Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos Jr. Targeted for somewhere in October?
Yes, it's been postponed, and the money is still there. Really gives Triller a chance to kind of put together their shows a little better. I think De La Hoya is supposed to do his thing before Lopez does because of the postponement. So they'll be able to hone in a little better on how Jim Lampley is going to work with Snoop Dogg and all of this, doing the commentary of the De La Hoya situation. So we should see a better production from Triller. This postponement will help them for sure.
Well, okay. So let's talk about this. Have you heard recently that they're talking about possibly moving the fight to Australia and moving the date from August 14th, like somewhere into October 17th? This is just hearsay. It's coming across the wire. There are people talking about the fact that they may move the fight. And then there's also talk about the fact that Teofimo Lopez may vacate his title at 135. So I really don't know. And to be specific, I think it may be the IBF that he's looking to vacate, and if he has to fight in Australia, right? So have you heard about that?
Wow, that's good stuff, man. I love hearing stuff like that I don't know about. So I get to give my first opinion like immediately, right? Okay.
Right.
As far as going over to Australia, the time frame and the body frame is really hard on you if you're not there early enough. You've got to be there at least 2 months, at least, to even acclimate yourself to everything that goes on there. It's just a whole different, you're upside down. So from a physical standpoint, yeah, that's the issue. As far as the money is concerned, I still think it'll be there. I still think everything will be okay there. But it is such a change in his world of boxing to go there at this late date. If he gets up to IBF, that's fine, because some of the other guys are fighting for the IBF, and he'll get to come back around and get them all back together again if he wants to. Maybe some of the other fighters will get 2 of them. Maybe Haney will get that one, or maybe some other fighter. Then all this, we have another nice little round robin. Maybe Garcia will pick up that IBF. You just don't know who's going to get it if he vacates it. Now, as far as him not wanting to go over there, I can understand it from a boxing standpoint. So I can also understand he may not want to go over there now because it's just too late in the situation. And the third thing is, if he in fact does have COVID, that type of stress on the body to go to Australia is taxing. So he's got a plethora of excuses that are palatable, that are acceptable. So, and that's just my first response from hearing what you just told me.
Well, so let me unpack this a little bit more. They're talking about the fact that they want to, well, first of all, they want to move the fight to Australia. This is Thriller. All right, the Thriller organization wants to move the fight to Australia, and purportedly it is because of the, Teofimo coming down with COVID-19, that they want to move it to Australia, right? So apparently, David McWaters, who is Teofimo Lopez's manager, is not happy with it, doesn't want it to happen. So there's a lot of disagreement about it. There's also a 14-day quarantine rule that is involved in that, so they don't like that either, right? I think there's a lot of disadvantages for Teofimo to go over to Australia and fight. All you have to do is go back and remember the fight. Remember when Manny Pacquiao fought? What was his name? He fought the
Horn.
Who?
Horn.
Thank you.
Did he fight Horn?
Jeffrey Horn. Yeah, Jeff Horn. So
he
when
lost.
he went there, he lost, and it wasn't a good look, right? So there's a lot of things to think about. That's news. I mean, if anybody has any news and you want to comment on YouTube, if you know something I don't know, please let us know, man. I'm really interested to hear how this thing is going to pan itself out. But listen to this. All right, so Harold, before I go on, why don't you tell me what you think about what I said?
Well, that makes so much sense. Australia obviously has their COVID situation in hand. Obviously, they feel like he'll be less prone to revisit this COVID infection. Obviously, they have full capacity over there in the arenas. So looking from that standpoint, financial standpoint, yes, that makes a lot of sense. Safety standpoint, it makes a lot of sense also. But as I said before, just the tax on the body, I don't think that's really warranted. I don't at this late point. Yeah. I would go maybe 6 months early, 3 months, 5 months early. I wouldn't go like now. I wouldn't.
Yeah, no, I get
that. I mean, the tour goes the other way. I mean, you got to get used to that.
Right. No, I get it. I agree with you. And to sweeten the pot here for y'all listening in, I hope you're enjoying this conversation that Harold and I are having, and we'd love for you to be a part of that conversation. So make sure you put your comments, likes, subscribe, hit the notifications, all that good stuff down below. But remember that there's an organization behind Teofimo Lopez. The real organization behind Teofimo Lopez is not Thriller. It is actually Top Rank, right? So Bob Arum has his own interests in this, and his team, the Top Rank team, they probably are not interested in that Kambosos fight at all happening in Australia. I don't think that really bodes well for the Top Rank organization in any way, to have their champion, one of their blue chips, fighting, on a different promoter's card in Australia, right? Just all seems kind of bass-ackwards to me. But the interesting thing about it is that Bob Arum wants Teofimo Lopez to fight Vasily Lomachenko in December. So if they move this fight to October, there's October 17th. There's no way that he's going to be able to fight 2 months later, December 17th, or anytime before that, because anytime later, you're into Christmas, right? So the dates are going to be hard to get, number one. And, there's going to be competition for a lot of other, televised events, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know, man. It seems to me that there's some electricity happening here. There's some currents running in different ways. What do you think, Harold?
I did not know of the December date with Loma. I didn't know that. So as you said, there's no way that can happen. So just off the cuff, the Australia fight for Mr. Lopez is not going to happen. Right. It's not going to happen. If Bob already has his date and his vendors and everyone lined up for December 10th, and he's put the proper pressure on Mr. Lopez to be available for that fight, right? That fight will happen over the mandatory in Australia. IBF, they may be able to pull the card and force it. I don't know. I'm not going to say, but from Bob's history and what he's done in the past, since Ali till now, he's usually going to prevail.
Right. Well, listen, this saga is going to continue as well. There's a lot of posturing, a lot of maneuvering, a lot of stuff going on with the Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos Jr.'s fight. And to be quite honest, like, the fans really want to see that fight because Kambosos did come with a lot of heat. He did come to the press conferences, to all the events. Like, he really promoted the fight nicely. I'm not sure that the ticket sales, I don't really know who's responsible for the ticket sales, what the Thriller's money-making machine is, the ticket sale promotional aspect of their organization. But I can tell you that, you know, Teofimo Lopez is an incredibly marketable fighter. So is George Kambosos. So I'm not real sure who's doing that work to promote the fight or what the inner workings of all of that actually is. I mean, I could speculate lots of things about the business there, but it would just confuse everybody and none of it would be complete. So I'm not going to go there. What I'd like to do is kind of switch topics now and just get into Canelo Alvarez and this possibility of him, you know, moving around in the weight classes and going up to 175. Talk to me about that.
Well, his trainer recently said after he completes this trilogy or quadrilogy, if that's the way, he's going to get all 4 belts. He's going to go ahead and step up to 175. And he wants to go ahead and clear that division out also. Now, personally, I think it's going to be easier for him to go clear out to 175. I know those guys up there are powerful and fast and this, that, and the other, and they've got great names and all of this. But his skill set is so far any of those guys in 175. There's a better skill set in 68 that he's dealing with, that if he gets through, when he gets through that and he goes up to 75, just his skill set. Now, I don't want to just go back too far, but when Floyd had his exhibition with the YouTube guy, okay, huge guy, powerful, but the skill set was so sublime, it didn't matter. And when he goes to 175, his skill set is so far above those guys who are champions at 175. It's extremely palatable that he can do that, but I think he'll do it easier. He'll have easier fights with those champions than he will have with the ones in 168. He's not going to go up in 175 and bang with those guys. That's not going to happen. So he's not going to really be bothered with the power. I mean, Canelo is a counterpuncher, aggressive counterpuncher. He waits for you to initiate, and he'll come back on you. So you know that's his style. And it's a safe, fan-friendly style. And it'll work perfectly at 175. So I truly see him cleaning out 168 and cleaning out 175. Yes.
Bam, 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 bam. You've been put on notice. Arthur Beterbiev, Demetrius Bivol,
yes,
Pascal, and Joe Smith. Y'all better watch out because Canelo Alvarez, if he steps up to the 175-pound weight division, Harold Hunt thinks y'all are all going to get swept right under the rug. So that's real, man. That's, you've got guys in there. You've got Marcus Brown there. You've got Badu Jack is in that division. Joshua Butasi, Jesse Hart, Sullivan Barrera's up in there. There's a lot of good fighters up there. Gilberto Ramirez is up in there. But I think of all the divisions, the 175-pound division is definitely the one that is the most. It's the right time. If Canelo chose to do that, this would be the right time, the right era for him to make that move, wouldn't it?
Yes. His cachet will dictate that he'll get those big fights quickly. He won't have to go through the Barreras and the other guys the two contenders, number one contenders to get to the champion. He'll be able to go right in and jump on champion after champion after champion and take it and get out of there.
Yeah.
He's not going to go through the wars. He's not. He'll go right to it.
Right. So let's talk about, let's show a little love and a little respect to Caleb Plant, because what's happening with the Canelo and Plant fight?
Well, as of now, they're just trying to tie down the money, which is feasible. I mean, Plant's going to get a situation where it'll change his life, a couple generations, in his family, all that's going to be changed. So he definitely needs to tighten that up. Okay, there's no doubt about that. Now, what you have in your mind and what your body can produce are two different things. His mind, I got this. His mind, I have the skill set. I can do this. I don't discount that whatsoever. However, you have a physical part that is just preset. And his preset physical part says he necessarily may not have the kind of power to keep Canelo off of him.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying. Even sharp punching, even precise punching and precise counter punching, if you can't keep someone off of you with force, sometimes they'll walk through those counter punches to deliver.
Oh yeah.
And that's just from me on the outside. You on the inside, I'm sure you have a different opinion of that. But speaking from a casual, I guess you call me an educated casual fan, however you want to say it.
Listen, stop. You are not a casual. Okay? You are not a casual. Just because you don't train fighters and manage fighters does not make you a casual. You are a bona fide professional boxing judge.
That's I was trying to get through a disclaimer out there because I don't know all. But
with all due respect.
Simply to me, that's just how I feel about that situation. That's just how I see it. So I'm not alone. Like they say, anything can happen in boxing. Yeah, I just never have seen Canelo blunted in any way. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen it. Even his fights when he was young, when he was coming up, he really didn't get buzzed or blunted at all. And these guys are, good punchers, heavy punchers, and he really deals with them easily. So I like Plant. I'm not being negative against him. I just think that, a V8 is faster than a V6.
Right.
You can't, if they're normally aspirated, no turbo, no whatever, that's just what it is. And if you got a 6 and that man has 8, you're at a disadvantage.
Yeah. An interesting thing to talk about just briefly in relationship to Canelo Alvarez is that, there's in number one in the WBC is David Benavidez, right? He's number one. And also another guy you don't want to sleep on. You never want to sleep on David Lemieux. Like, David Lemieux is a good fighter.
Really?
Yeah, I love David Lemieux. I think he's a dog for sure,
I agree. He's a dog, but he's got holes. Benavidez, he's a dog, but he's got holes. And Canelo sees holes, man.
Break it down. Break those holes down. What you got?
Well, Lemieux, I can't necessarily speak to that. I have to think about it a little deeper because he's not necessarily on the scene right now, and I don't think he's a threat. Now, Benavidez, as the people would like to say, is the only one that can give Canelo issues. He can really back him up. He's going to come in with all the fury of being overlooked and neglected. And, the thing with his personal life, he always has to revamp himself and put himself back in the positive light and all of this. So all that's going to be motivation for him to try to come to Canelo and say, I'm stronger, I'm bigger, I can take you out. He's just walking right into where Canelo needs him to be because that's what Canelo can do. Case in point, we just saw Barrera in this past weekend, Ramirez.
Yeah.
3 liver shots to the body. Now, we know Barrera's always in shape, strong, ready to go, whatever. But you cannot work against natural physical situation hitting the body. Case in point, further, De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins. He hit the button. De La Hoya was beating the canvas. He knew he couldn't get up. He wasn't hurt any other way, but he knew that he just couldn't take it. Your body just shut you down. One of the commentators clearly said during the Barrera fight, the liver shot makes cowards of us all. And I know you know that quote. So Canelo is smart in that regard. He knows that he can go to the body surgery, doesn't care who you are, you will slow down and he can take you out, or he'll take you out with that. So just that adage alone, just that discipline that he knows how to go to the body. He knows what to do with that. I just see no one really challenging him. Maybe, as I said, there's more talent in 168 to confront him there is in 175. And maybe Ramirez is, but he got a lot of holes. He comes in open. He's got the hole here. He got the hole there. He got the hole for the left hook. He got the hole for the straight jab. He squares up when he comes in.
Yeah.
He's got so many things that he does that Canelo will feast on.
Right.
But as far as the media is concerned and the pundits and the fans, yes, let's have somebody challenge Canelo. Yes, he's the one. He's the only one. And it serves to be a good conversation piece.
Yeah, well, I mean, so in other words, you don't think there's anybody in the top 10, top 15 that's going to be able to do much with Canelo?
Canelo. In 68 and 75, yes, I don't believe so. And like I said, he gets to go right to the champions. He doesn't get worn down by fighting the number 2 guy, number 1 guy, and then he gets the champion. He'll get to go right in, just like Rick Now went right into Loma. He went up 2 weight classes, boom,
right.
He went right to Loma.
Right. Yeah, no, I get that. So listen, man, we can chop him up all day long, break down Sal Canelo Alvarez, amazing fighter. Seems like he's got the world by the balls right now. And there's not anyone that's really going to be able to challenge him. But, we did briefly talk about his impending matchup coming up. And so we'll just have to see how he does against Mr. Plant, right?
Yes. Shout out to Mr. Plant. In my opinion, it's kind of a foregone conclusion.
Well, if anybody out there thinks that it's not a foregone conclusion, I want to know. Please, hit, comment below and let us know what you think. If you think Caleb Plant can really, I've seen some stuff on the wire and I've seen some stuff on some of the boxing chat lines and feeds where they're saying you just don't know about this Caleb Plant. And I love Caleb Plant. I think he's a great fighter. I definitely can see how his style would be made for Canelo Alvarez. I get it. I get that. And, but you never know. Like you said, boxing is boxing has a way of proving us all wrong, right? All of us that are talking about it and chatting about it, the script can get flipped very easy in professional boxing. And that's what makes it so exciting to watch, because you just never know what's going to happen.
So just going off tendencies on both fighters, we both say both fighters. If you just want to go from this advantage point right now, which is, as you say, is totally unpredictable, I see what I see.
Yeah, I get it. And I must commend you on a great analysis about how you think the fights are going to go. How you think Canelo can survive at 175, because time will tell. I'll tell you that. And if he unifies at 175, I think he'll be the only fighter that's ever done that, right?
Yes. And another advantage, he won't have any issue with weight at 175. He can be comfortable and strong he'll be mentally, that career will be gone.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, his body's built for 175. I mean, he can handle that for sure. Those legs, all those, he can handle it for sure. So, Harold, let's put in the car into drive and let's take a switch down into the next lane and let's start chatting up this whole there's been a development in professional female boxing. They're talking about changing the time from 2 minutes to 3 minutes, and I really want to talk about this with you, Harold. I really want to get into it. I think it's an amazing development. I think it has oodles of potential. It has a potential to level the playing field in terms of female boxing as it relates to male boxing. And that also plays into the compensation. Right?
As it should.
As it should. So let's talk about it, Harold. What you got?
There's been a raging debate for years. This is the first time that the press really got hold of it and squirted it on us, so we had to pay attention to it. The ladies would like to go to 3-minute rounds. Now it's happened before. Maybe 2-3 years ago, there was a fight in is it Las Vegas or California where they asked the ladies, do you want to go 3-minute rounds? It was for a title. And it worked out nicely. They agreed upon it, and they did so. And, obviously it went off without a problem. It wasn't much hoopla, I guess, but it did happen. So that was really great. Right. So recently you've had a couple of days ago some debate on whether that should happen again, that should be allowed.
Right.
And right now it seems as if that it's been condoned or accepted if in fact it happened by most of the commissioners in all the states and by 3 of the 4 sanctioning bodies.
Right.
I simply see an opportunity for knockouts on the women's level. I would like to see on ESPN and these other shows where they show a woman winning her fight by knockout. And then the next thing you see is a man winning by knockout. And the next thing you see is LeBron James slamming on somebody. I think all of those elements in sports need to be seen. And a woman only has 2 minutes to really knock out someone. And that's really pretty tough to do. If it goes to 3-minute rounds, there'll be so many more knockouts in women's boxing, so many more highlights. This would be great. Not only that, these major promotional companies will start signing these ladies and giving them opportunity to live out their dream as a professional fighter. And they'll be getting full-time monies and help and training because they know knockouts sell. Now, the disparity in women's matchmaking is so great. You got those who can do it and those who really can't do it. There's no in between. Now, at this point, it would absolutely show a plethora, a lot of knockouts just currently. But in the years to come, maybe 3 or 4 years, if this sticks, then you're going to see a lot better quality fights because these women are going to be able to get into that middle area along with the elite fighters and have decent fights that are going to go to 3 minutes or what have you, and you have back and forth. But if it's instituted pretty quickly here, well, you're going to see a lot of knockouts because they say, okay, we can do 3 rounds. Girls can have it. Some ladies can't do have it. And you're going to see splashes of knockdowns, splashes all over. And that's going to be great for the sport. It's going to galvanize some women boxers to the general public. And they're going to be looking for so-and-so to knock people out. Clarissa Shields would knock everybody out if she had 3 minutes with everybody. What? She would knock them out. But unfortunately, she hasn't had the opportunity to do so. Now, you still have lady boxers now who go 2 rounds and they knock people out. Imagine how electrifying they will be when they get to 3 rounds, you have second round, third round knockouts, one after the other, after the other, after the other. So it is going to be nice when it happens. The only person who's against it, in a sense, is Mr. Sullivan at WBC, and I believe he's just going with the national, his upbringing, the regional where he is. He's in Mexico, and they think differently about that kind of thing, man-woman thing, and I respect that because every culture has their own thing that you have to look at. I'm just hoping that the money that's generated by the 3 minutes for the ladies may sway him to go ahead and acquiesce. If not, his stance is well appreciated.
Yeah, well said, well stated, Statement. That was awesome. That was fantastic, Harold. So, I mean, the real kicker about all of this is that, the pay gap between what a male fighter gets and what a female fighter gets is so extraordinarily different. And I wonder how, if that rule is in fact adopted and, accepted widely around the world as far as the number of rounds, how it will affect them monetarily, how the female fighter will be able to command a much larger purse. I think that it's time that our sport allow that, and not allow that. It's just what's so. It's what should be, that females are compensated the same. But I wonder why, or why do you think that still exists?
Well, once they go to 3 minute rounds, and once you see these knockouts, and promoters, networks can see that they can make the same type of money, same type of viewer share, the same advertising dollars with the ladies, right? Because they're knocking people out. The knockouts is what sells boxing for us at this point. That will migrate itself to the numbers that they need and the numbers that the ladies deserve to get for these fights. It all is stemmed on the opportunity to be seen more and to produce the fruit of the sport, which is knockouts. And once the ladies do this on a regular basis, all of that, it changes the financial bed for everything. So they will get that money. They will have the opportunity because they're going to produce what needs to be seen. Then you can see full cards of all ladies, and it'll be just as anticipated as the men, because guess what? 4 of those 5 of those ladies, they're knocking people out. They've knocked out their last 5, 6 opponents and all of that. Some of them may be physically appealing as far as, society says that's a beautiful woman and she's knocking people out. They're going to love that. Or the other ones may not subscribe to that type of look, but they're knocking people out. So all of those things work, and it's just so much more that the ladies can bring along with the men that will keep them financially close and on par, and the ladies will get that money that they deserve to get. Wow.
Yeah, man. I would love to get a couple of the ladies on the program and chop that up, because it's going to be very exciting to hear their enthusiasm about the increase in length of time per round. I think that if you ever spend any time in the gym, with the female fighters are fighting guys and they're fighting the same number of rounds anyway. They're in the gym and they're doing 3 minute rounds, 5 minute rounds. Sometimes they just keep doing rounds with no break. So I don't really get it, because in the world of boxing, outside of professional, prize fighting or fighting in the ring as entertainment, I mean, in the gyms, in the fight culture, females are doing the same number of rounds as the men are doing. So it's kind of odd for me. I mean, unless, of course, you're an amateur you're a young little, a young girl who's just starting out, and yeah, maybe you might want to run the girls, in 3-minute rounds, minute and a half rounds. I get it. But once you go into the open class division in USA boxing as an amateur, you're doing 3-minute rounds in the gym. No one's going, hey, let's switch that clock to 2 minutes. Really
True that.
Yeah.
Also, UFC, the women go the 3 rounds. Case in point, Miss Shields, she said, I've done all I can do in boxing at this point. I'll go to the MMA arena, and she knocked the girl out.
Right. She
garnered more accolades on another platform, knocking the girl out because knockouts sell. If she could just duplicate that on the other side, on the boxing side, give her the 3 minutes, she'll do the same thing. It's about the knockout. I can't trumpet that enough. And if you give the women the opportunity to produce these knockouts, it's a cash cow for everyone.
Yeah, no. I definitely agree with that. And female boxing is super exciting. I mean, I've trained a bunch of female fighters and, to be honest, female fighters are, well, not even to be honest. I don't even know why I say to be honest, but female fighters are incredible to train. They're really smart. They're really focused. Their ability to execute tasks are incredible, and their aptitude for learning and managing multiple tasks is enormous, as you know. I mean, you know that. Everybody knows that. So, female fighters are outstanding. I don't mean to oversimplify that either. I mean, there's a million other reasons why female fighting is so fantastic, and they're just, I don't even know why I'm calling it female fighting. It's boxing.
It's boxing.
They just happen to be females,
Hey, Mark, I used to go to the WNBA games. I'm in Atlanta. I used to go to WNBA games in Atlanta. Uh-huh. And it was, the women playing, of course.
Right.
The crowd seemed to be at a higher pitch all the time. It was because, the women tended to be a little more emotional, if you want to say that. I don't mean to be sexist or whatever, but that crowd had a different feel, and it was consistent. Yeah. Now, looking at the crowd, it was mostly women. And They kept that thing just at a level, just because that's just kind of how God made them, as far as being, emotional like that. So not emotional, but just high pitch. I can't describe it. Yes, the NBA game had the same kind of pitch. It does, men and women. I understand that. But there's something different about that NBA game when it's packed and a regular game when it's packed. They're both wonderful experiences. You cannot, rate one over the other. It's just that the ladies seem to be a little different. Now, you bring that element into a all-female card where there's knockouts going on, man, it is something special. Some of the biggest people who generate money for the UFC are ladies.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
That model is there. It's just that boxing is old school.
Well, and like you just said it. You just said exactly what I was going to say, Harold, which is that there's this old guard with boxing. There's old guard promoters. There's a lot of people in boxing. There's this old guard. But what they're dealing with is a transformation in the world, right? The world is transforming, and our society's transforming. The culture's transforming. The way we deal with gender and race and all of it, sexuality, all of it is transforming at such a rapid pace, and boxing is coming right along with that. Boxing is it's just amazing to be in an era where we get to watch that. And I wonder what our conversation is going to be in another 10 years. We'll probably look back at this episode of the Boxing Breakdown and say, I can't believe we were even talking about that. Why were we even talking about that?
We're going to have some monster ladies out there who are killing. I mean, who are like on the commercials and all of that stuff that is reserved for men right now. If they get the 3-minute rounds and they produce those kind of knockouts, you're going to have Tyson type situations. You're going to have these ladies, and these ladies, their physique has to be okay because, you know, they're fighters. Right. So that's a whole nother avenue in which they can embrace because, yes, they can have the designer dresses and all that kind of stuff too, along with being a fighter. So that they got so many avenues in which they can branch out in financially and in media wise because they are ladies. They have the advantage. They have the advantage if they have opportunity to produce the fruit of boxing, which is knockouts, as I said.
Right. Wow. Yeah, man. So listen, Harold, I want to just for the listeners out there, I think we're gonna jump on into a new topic and just chat a little bit about the Jamal, Charlo versus
just a little, because we got to talk about your boy. Going forward to Showbox.
Yeah, but I want to talk about Jamal Charlo and Brian Castano and their upcoming fight. It's looking like it's going to be an interesting fight. There's first of all, unified WBC, WBA, and IBF world champion Jamal Charlo.
All four.
And the WBO world champion Brian Castano. They're going to be locking horns in their battle for the undisputed 154-pound championship. And that is going to be headlining on Showtime on Saturday, July 17th. From the AT&T Center in San Antonio, and it's a premier boxing champions event, right? How appropriate, how awesome. But that fight is going to happen, Harold, and so talk to me, man. Tell me what you think.
It is beautifully placed. Oh, it's not a pay-per-view. It's on Showtime. It's in the middle of the month. I mean, it's perfect. I mean, everyone can see it. It's history.
Yeah.
Oh, the background of it, the thing between the Charlo brothers says so competitive. They don't want to talk to each other, but now they're loving on each other because they both had these big fights coming up, right? Then you've got the opponent whose father was a fighter, and you know he went through what he went through to get to what he has to do, and the opponent Castano, if I'm saying his name correctly, got married. He was on his honeymoon. They said, "Oh, you got the Charlo fight." They had to cut the honeymoon short, and he had to come back home and train. So you got so many storylines behind this, you know. So it's just perfectly placed, and I'm just glad the public, you know, has the opportunity to do it without really, putting out any money. They don't have to do the pay-per-view. So I must commend PBC for this because this is what really gets people back into boxing, because this is for all four belts, even the casuals or people who don't know. You can say, hey, this is for every belt that's out there. And once you run down the four major sanctioning bodies and kind of brief over what it takes to be a champion in those sanctioning bodies, and what it takes for the sanctioning bodies to get along long enough so you can have an undisputed situation happen. All of them take their cut from the fight. All of that, there's so much involved for this to happen. It's just great.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's an outstanding, it's going to be an outstanding fight. And I think, by the way, Brian Castano I think he's from Argentina, right?
Yes. WBO champion.
Right. WBO champion. So,
and he's training in LA.
Right. So this is going to be a real fight, man. It's going to be all the belts on the line. It'll be really, really awesome. And we'll see what happens.
It's a beautiful thing. Undisputed in this era with all the political stuff that's going on, for them to actually sit down and do this. You know, we had one earlier with Taylor, right? So now you've got another one that is just great. That's just great for boxing. Man.
So that fight, again, for y'all listening out there in the Boxing Breakdown land, let me break it down for you. That fight is Saturday, July 17th. It's the WBC IBF WBA, WBC, junior middleweight titles on the line between Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano. It's at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. It's on Showtime, and it's taking place at the AT&T Center in San Antonio, Texas. Get your tickets if you want to go see it live. I'm sure that arena will be packed. And otherwise, get on the Showtime and check it out, man, because it's going to be a great fight. And then, Harold, I just wanted to chop up real quickly, man, just give a big shout out to my man, Martino Jules out of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Yeah. Martino Jules is 10-0. And he's in the featherweight division, and he's going to be locking horns with a gentleman by the name of Arman Avayagan. I guess I try my
Great
best.
Great pronunciation, man. You on it,
man. Aram Avagayan, right? That's how I pronounce his name. Hopefully I got it right. If I got it wrong, big ups. I apologize to you. So that is, he is also undefeated. And yeah, he's undefeated. He's 10-0 with two draws. And, he is from Armenia. And they're going to be fighting on the Showbox the New Generation. Its 20th anniversary, which is on July 23rd. I think it's a 3 or 4 fight card. There's 2 super middleweight prospects. Calvin Henderson is taking on Isaiah Steen. So that's going to be happening, and I'm really excited about that card, man, because my boy Martino Jules is going to, put on a great show. I know he's we're training super hard, and he's doing a great job in camp, and he's ready, man. He's ready to go. He's ready to bust out of his seams. Super talented fighter, Harold, man. You would love this guy if you get a chance to see him. You will get a chance to see him because you'll tune into the Showtime event, I know, or you'll be there in the arena, hopefully, one or the other. That is, I believe...
Gotta work that night.
What?
I gotta work that night, and I'm doing a fight somewhere.
Okay.
North Carolina, South Carolina.
Oh, in South Carolina?
Yeah.
I got
on the 17th, I'll be working a fight. But
yeah. Well,
I'll be running right back to the hotel room trying to watch that Showtime card. You believe that?
I'm going to tell you right now. Let me just tell you this. It's taking place at the Heartland Event Center, Grand Island, Nebraska, USA. Right? It is. The promoter is Marshall Kaufman. We've had him on the program a bunch of times. Marshall, shout out. He does a great job. He's an absolutely outstanding promoter, great gentleman. And I just had Travis Kaufman on the program for the Father's Day edition, who's also
which you did was well done, matter of factly.
Thank you, man. Thank you for that. It was beautiful. I really wanted to just highlight, Harold. I wanted to just highlight all the great work. I mean, I could do that every day, 365 days, because there's so many great men out there doing great work in boxing, helping young kids, just utilize the sport to find a path forward, to keep their minds out of the streets and occupied on something that's really positive. And I know, boxing sometimes gets a bad rap because it's boxing, right? But the fact of the matter is to have a sport that you can take your mind and put all your energy into and kind of get distracted from, some of the bad things out there that could harm you. It's just a beautiful thing. I was just talking to Jorge Diaz, is another fighter, Harold, that I've worked with and who's just an outstanding man, doing very, very well in the business world now. And he said, I'm just so thankful for boxing to give me a place to be, place to, have a family and friends and people to call my own. And it's just such a beautiful thing that way. So I don't know. I'm digressing a little bit, but I just wanted to to say that this kid Martino Jules, man, is going to be a great fight. Calvin Henderson, Isaiah Steen, they're fighting a 10-round fight at the 168-pound weight division. Janelson Figueroa Boccacino is going to be fighting another fighter that I am very, very fond of, and I spent a lot of time with growing up in the amateurs, followed him, and had the distinct honor of working with him, wrapping his hands 100 times. Mr. Schnard, a Scrappy Bunch, who's 15-1. They're going to be fighting a welterweight scrap, and that is going to be a fire fight. 10 rounds of boxing action, and then we've got Martino Jules against Ariam Avagayan, and then Jose Jacob. I guess he's Jacoby is they haven't posted who he's fighting, but that's a super lightweight fight. We'll see if it goes down. And then Julian Gonzalez is going to be fighting Miguel Martinez. Those are both, one is a debut and one is one fight in. It's a super featherweight fight at 130 pounds. That's a 4-rounder, but that's a nice card. I know the Boxing Breakdown, y'all will want to watch that fight. You'll want to check it out. It's going to be awesome. And once again, shout out to my boy Martino Jules and the folks in Bethlehem at Indios Boxing. Love you guys, and keep doing the great work that you're all doing. I can't wait to see you in the gym. Okay, so Harold, I don't know, man. I think we hit it, man. We hit everything.
Yeah, we touched on a whole lot, so all we have to do is just wait and see it unfold in front of us.
Yeah, man. And for those of you that are tuning in, I want to thank you for being with us. If you're traveling from here to there to here, wherever you are listening, we want to thank you for taking the time to be with us. And it's, if you've got a 30-minute drive, you've listened to the podcast one way and the other. If you've got an hour drive, you've got one podcast in the whole hour. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to us and being with us. And I want to thank you for doing that. So, Harold, I love you as always. Peace and love. And until next time, I'll catch you on the other side.
Peace out.
Peace.
Fight fans, join host Mark Roxey and special guests as they break down all aspects of the boxing world, including news, business, management, training, promotions, fan reactions, upcoming events, matchups, future boxing stars, title fights, state of the boxing world, and all the stuff you don't see when you watch boxing. This podcast is released each week on Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Live streamed on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook Live. It's the Boxing Breakdown, hosted by Mark Roxey.